Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is super exciting because we are going to be going over this deck of cards. It's the Archeo or Archeo personal archetype cards by Nick Bantic or Bantock, and I am so excited to open this and look at it. Yesterday was my birthday, and this was one of the gifts that I bought myself. I saw it at Barnes & Noble and I picked it up. It's one that I've had on my wish list, but I just haven't purchased it yet. And I saw a video of somebody reviewing it, and I decided to pick it up when I saw it in person. From what I understand, it does have some weird imagery, and that's kind of what has drawn me to it. This is just going to be like my first impressions and a flip through of the cards and what I think and all of that. So if you guys want to see that, please keep watching. But the back here says, build your inner life with a cast of colorful archetypes. New York Times bestselling author and artist Nick Bantock presents a groundbreaking oracle deck that helps you create your personal mythology. Picture your inner life as a hero's quest and this deck as your band of faithful companions. The Archeo, I'm gonna call it the Archeo, includes 40 archetype cards, a full color guidebook detailing each one's skills, gifts, and personalities, and 2 blank cards to make your own archetypal characters. Featuring mesmerizing artworks that spark the imagination, this marvelous deck guides you in discovering your full potential as a person of many parts. So I really love that description. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk because I'm so excited. And let's just get into this because I can't wait much longer. Okay, so I believe yes. So it opens up like that. It's just like a little magnetic box, and the inside has a wolf right there. I have a husky, so I love wolves. And it has this little string right here, and then the guidebook. So here's the guidebook. Oh wow. So it really does have full color. It has a magazine kind of feel to the cards. And this is one of the cards that really drew me to it, that I really liked. So there's an introduction here, and then the characters basically. So not too much extra in here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so in the back actually is where we have layouts and spreads. So I'm really interested in looking at this some more. That's what the side of the book looks like. All right, let's see here. So that's the inside where the cards were. And here are the cards. They're quite big. I'm gonna take off the plastic here. So let me see here. This is my oracle deck over here that I created. And here's a size comparison. So I would say that this is a normal kind of oracle card size, and so his cards are quite tall here, but they're a little bit, I don't know, they seem thinner here because they're so tall, I don't know. And here are the backs. I love these backs. They're kind of like a light grayish blue, but almost like a lilac. I don't really know. They're really, really good. So this said it was 42 cards, so a little bit smaller than a normal deck. And then it came with some blank ones for you to make your own archetype cards. So there's those. Okay, now we're gonna do a flip through of the deck, and then I'll be back at the end to talk about it with you guys some more. So so that was the flip through of the deck. It's super interesting, you guys. I am super into the artwork, and I don't know if you noticed during the flip through, but the word on the card is kind of hard to see. It's in like a different spot every time, so you kind of have to search for it, but I don't mind that. It's intriguing. It kind of brings like a different element to it. I really like it. The cardstock is shiny, if you can see that, but it's not too overly glossy or shiny. As far as like shuffling goes, my hands aren't super small, but this seems like it might be difficult to riffle shuffle, but that's not really how I shuffle anyway. I would shuffle more this way, and they are quite large, so it makes that a little bit difficult, but you can shuffle them this way as well. But I'm very happy with the cardstock. It's not too thin or anything. I really enjoy these cards. I think they're very interesting and thought-provoking. So why don't we do like a little mini reading and see what comes out, and we'll see how the guidebook reads, and that might just give us a little bit more insight into the deck. So I am just going to cleanse the deck first of any energy so that we can get a clear reading. Okay, so if there's anything that you have questions about or have been wondering about, go ahead and think of them now, or you can even speak them out loud. And I'm going to shuffle this deck and see what comes out. It might be a little bit difficult, especially from this angle, but we'll see. Okay, so two different cards kind of popped out there for us. Okay, so we got Hypocrite and Hypocrite. Okay. All right, so these are the two that we got. They're actually right next to each other in the book, so they must have jumped out together, which is fine. So this first one is Hypocrite. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but it says the attribute is elusive. She is the sense of loss and nostalgia we feel for a place or person that we never knew. I have heard of this word before, and I definitely feel that quite often, actually. She is the missing, that which lingers like a dull, aching grief in your bones. If you chase her, she will recede, but if you invite her to make herself known, she may approach and relieve you of your hollow longing. The Hypocrite touches something within us that sits hunched and gnawing in the corner of our souls, a vaguely conscious emotion that can never be brought to the surface and named. The Welsh have a word for this amorphous sensation, Hypocrite, defined as a homesickness for a home to which you cannot return, a place which maybe never was, the nostalgia, yearning, or grief for lost terrains of your past, or the sadness that comes from knowing that someone who is deeply important to you is forever just out of sight. When we are young, we often believe this someone to be our kindred spirit, our love. Later, we realize the missing person resides within, and in order to negate the clinging feelings of loss, we try to mend our sense of being broken by searching for a way to bring together the fragmented parts. In hindsight, the missing part of us may in reality be what it first seemed, a shadow companion whose presence will only break cover when we turn sharply to embrace it. Wow. Okay. That is a very powerful card, and I know many people have this feeling, and it kind of reminds me of like star seeds and that kind of idea. So very powerful. If you guys have had that feeling, please let me know, or if that pertains to you. Next, we have Hypocrite. So nobody likes being called that, but sometimes we have to look within ourselves and realize that we can be hypocrites ourselves. So let's read what that one says in here. Okay, Hypocrite. The hypocrite, whilst professing holiness and transparency, cynically connives and manipulates. Why, then, would we want to have anything to do with such a person? The answer is, we all tend to want more from others than we demand from ourselves, which by definition means we are duplicitous. The hypocrite's presence reminds us that we need to keep our two-faced tendencies in check. I don't know about you guys, but as a Gemini, that is something I need to hear. So it says persona. He purports to be a man of piety, but he is politically motivated and his agenda is driven by an obsessive hunger to control. The hypocrite preaches one thing and does another. He uses his office and his influence for personal gain and gratification. He's a cunning puppeteer and a master of intrigue. At his worst, he's a coiled snake waiting to strike those who stand in his way. He's a controller of the system, whether it be political or theological, and he knows every rule and obscure law that can be used in his favor. He keeps his agenda well hidden and utilizes to strong effect the strategy of divide and conquer. Occasionally, he will seem to use his power for the good of others, but only if it advances his nefarious plans. He is ruthless, and it would be advisable to avoid openly crossing him. Wow. That is a strong message there. So I feel like this would be a really good deck if you're trying to, like in maybe like a love reading, if you're trying to get maybe some traits about somebody, you could use this deck and it could bring out some maybe not so favorable traits or favorable traits about a specific person that you're trying to find out about. So back here, Archeo tales. So these are like short little stories, I'm guessing, about the different characters. So let's see what the two that we drew have to say. They're actually on the same page here. So the Hirias tale is, at the library in Kew Gardens, I found a pressed iris inside a battered leather-bound atlas. Between Constantinople and Abyssinia, the fragile stem and stamen had been left to wait. The flower's ultramarine blue was unbleached by sunlight. When I touched its dry velvet, my mind's eye conjured up the bee-veiled face of the mill liner's daughter who'd set the flower within the volume's folds. I had known this woman all my life, yet until that moment I had never seen her. A sense of longing and loss overwhelmed me. I tumbled headlong into a bittersweet revelry of relief and sadness. Wow, that's really strong. Okay, the Hypocrite's tale says, standing upright and proud in his gold-trimmed crimson robes, Cardinal Forza exhorts his congregation to forego the pleasures of the flesh, to give up their worldly possessions to the church, and to follow without questions the edicts of the papacy. After the sermon, he retreats along the secret corridors that lead to the exquisite opulence of his palace, where his young mistress has been instructed to wait for him. Stripping off his heavy gown, he climbs into bed, taking the girl into his arms. He reflects contentedly on the fine rewards that come from being both clever and utterly immoral. So that is a hypocrite if I've ever heard one. And I think that could bring a really interesting dynamic to readings. I really love this deck and I'm so excited to work with it more. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of the oracle cards I have are kind of similar in ways, and this one is just so different and just brings a whole nother element. And this is my first kind of archetype deck, so maybe that's why, but I just feel like it could bring this whole other really helpful side to a tarot reading or an oracle reading or just any kind of like divination work. So I am so excited for this deck. That's basically all I have for you guys for the review and everything. If you enjoyed this, please let me know if you're gonna get these cards. They are new from what I'm understanding because it does say 2021 on here, so they're fairly new. Let me know if you're gonna get this deck. I really love it and I'm excited to work with it some more. So that's basically it, guys, my little flip through and review. Let me know if there's any decks you want to see. If I have them, I will make a video. If I don't have them, I might consider purchasing to make the video. Yeah, I love you guys so much and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.